Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm on with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands, and I am back up north. My trip down south has now completed and I'm back up here in the glorious sunshine on a very nice day in early June. And today I'm tackling a Bassetlaw village. It's actually a town. It's a civil parish with town status. Now behind me, these rather magnificent looking gates. Now this may look a little bit odd, but there are houses behind these gates, but that's not what used to be there until very recently. All this area that I'm currently stood in front of used to belong to a colliery, and after a bit of a struggle the colliery was demolished and these houses are now occupying the land where it once stood. Now there's a lot of story to go along with the colliery here, which hopefully I'll explain in this video, but there's plenty more to see than just that in this town. This is Harworth and Bircotes. Okay, so as the name of this place suggests, there are two settlements here, although they are sort of all mingled into one now. But originally there would have been two settlements, Harworth and Bircotes, and we're going to see them both. Now this junction here where the Asda is and the memorial is on this corner is kind of the dividing line. I've always seen this bit as being the middle, as it were. Basically Harworth is that way and Bircotes is that way. We're going to go to Harworth first because it's downhill and it's easy to film. So let's go and have a look at Harworth, so shall we? Okay, so that is Scrooby Road, where most of Harworth and Bircote's shops and main amenities are located. Now you might have noticed that so far the very little housing we have seen has all been modern style housing, very new, some built very recently, some not so, but certainly not a lot in the way of old terraces or houses that would have been constructed just after the war. And the reason for that is because this part of Harworth and Bircote is not the original settlement. Now I'm walking down the hill on Scrooby Road, and here you can see another set of houses that have sprung up fairly recently. This is Woodland Grange. Now, the original Harworth settlement is right at the bottom of this hill, and that's where we're going now. So let's have a look at what Harworth was in times gone by. Okay, so Main Street at this point runs towards Stirrup, and this is the western extent, if you like, of Harworth. There is another housing estate which is off Common Lane, which is over there, and it's behind that house you can see in the middle distance there, and a big housing estate there. But that's all it is, literally just housing. Interesting point about that one though is that that's the estate you can see if you're driving up the A1. If you look to your right hand side, if you're driving northbound, you can see that estate off the A1. Okay, so now we're going to walk back down Main Street, see what else we can find along it, if there's anything else, and then we're going to head up towards Harworth Cemetery, which has something of unique importance to this town inside it. Okay, so one of Harworth's claims to fame is it has a famous grave. And I thought I was going to be longer finding this grave than I actually was. It appears it's very close to the cemetery gates, which I've just walked through over there. Now the grave we're looking at is this one here. This is the grave of Tom Simpson, who died whilst competing with the Great Britain team in the Tour de France cycle race. His body ached, his legs grew tired, but still he would not give in. And his headstone has even got a small picture of a cyclist in this corner. He died in 1967 and he was aged just 29 years old. And he had this enormous passion for what he did, and he had this will to win which just never died, even when he did. And that really is a good motto for any younger generation watching this channel. Don't ever give up. I don't know whether you can tell on this shot. I'll walk a bit closer to this house in front of me. You can see it's all boarded up. Now there was a time that on this estate a lot of houses looked just like that, with boarded up doors and windows. It seems to be now that quite a few of them have opened up again, but I've not been to Harworth for quite a number of years. It's a good 4 or 5 years since I was last here. As I remember this estate, there was a lot of houses on here that had boarded up doors and windows. In fact, there's another one over there in the corner, and I've passed another one too as I came out of the passage off of Bawtry Road. So there are still a couple dotted around, and I'm going to use this in fact to ask the locals a question. Why are they boarded up? What's the idea? What was the plan behind it? I imagine some houses on this estate are, well, very old. Were they planning to knock them down or knock a few of the houses down or redevelop them in some way? let me know, because I remember this estate, like I said, being very much on the boarded up side. Alright, so now we are in Bircotes, and this area is very much a housing estate that was built as a result of the colliery at Harworth. You can probably tell by the style of housing here, it's very similar to all the model village estates we've seen before in the likes of Maltby, Thurcroft, Armthorpe, Rossington. They have all got that same, I'll call it a colliery style. It's not the actual term, it's just a term that TVI has invented. One thing I've definitely noticed in any area that's got a colliery estate like this is the size of the footpaths. They're certainly wider than your normal bog standard footpath anywhere else on any other street in England. Right, if you live here in Bircotes, you will know this estate is mainly just housing, and the size of it is quite large. It's a huge estate. So for those reasons, I'm not going to catch it all. I'm going to walk down Whitehouse Road as far as Droversdale and turn right down Droversdale, and then cut back along the Crescent so I can catch Harworth Methodist Church. And I think that will probably do it, not just for Bircotes, but the entire video. I've been walking around for about an hour and a half now, and with the sun up in the sky with very few clouds, I'm getting quite warm and sweaty. So let's see what else we can find as we come towards the end of this video. there you have it. That is Harworth and Bircotes. Two very distinct settlements merged into one in the form of Harworth and Bircotes Town Council. And a nice little walk around. I've been walking for about 2 hours. It's a big place, a big population. It's spread out over quite a large area. I think if you come here and you want to explore things, you have to be prepared that you are going to do a lot of pedalling, and the old feet and the old legs will start to feel it after a while. And in this heat, it's a nice day, but sometimes you do feel it. There's a lot here, a lot in Harworth and Bircotes, and it's one that I had been planning to do for quite a while, but I brought it forward a little bit because someone asked me whether or not I was doing it, and I thought, well, I've got a free day today, so I may as well go down to Harworth and do it. And I've enjoyed walking around it. There's a lot here, and I hope you have enjoyed seeing these things too. Okay, so this will probably be out at some time during my Kent stuff, because it'll take me a while to plough through those. I've edited a couple of those videos, but certainly I've not got through it all yet. So this one will probably be interspersed between the Kent stuff, but I am planning to do some more Bassetlaw ones later on this week, so you will see a lot more of northern Nottinghamshire. But for now, this has been the parish, the town of Harworth and Bircotes, and I've been the village idiot, and I'm out.